We watched a good film. Whoa, 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 we watched a good film. Talking about a really good film. So here is the show. Lady. I'm talking about a little lady. Whoa, whoa, whoa. And the lady is mine. Welcome back to Hurd Ya Saw in a change of pace for the first time, and it's the show's entire rich 2-episode history. We have watched a decent film. I'm joined today by Shay Collins, EJ Lee, Sean Narborough. We are in the illustrious home of Shay and EJ. We have just watched the, what year was it?
1996.
1996 film Bound by the Wachowski then brothers, then siblings, and then sisters. So, as is tradition, we will each be going around with our one-line takeaway from the film as your jumping off point. Shay, as you were absent last time, we'll be beginning with you. Your one-line take on Bound, if you please.
Man, your heart just doesn't stop racing. First, your heart's racing because of, sexy sex scenes. Real vagina envy. And then it's just heart-stopping tension throughout afterwards.
Very good, very good. Sean?
First 20 minutes. I'm sure we'll cover that a lot.
Continue.
In a sense, we'll figure that out. So, but it has that rising tension. You never really know where it's gonna go next. This is very surprising.
Mm-hmm. EJ?
Starts like a porn, ends like a gangster movie. So it's got everything.
Excellent.
It's like the opposite of how porns work. Usually the porn's at the end of the story.
I was going to say, how many porn films do you know that have a really elaborate, gangster intrigue film before you get to the sex?
And then there's, the porn relief.
For one My Line takeaway, I have been told by multiple people that, no, this is a Wachowski brothers film that you'll actually really like. And I did like this. This was good. It reminded me a lot, my brain just kept on going, boy, I should watch Kiss Kiss Bang Bang again. Because it had that same kind of mob, people getting involved in something much larger than themselves thing going on. And it was really good fun. Who would like to recount the plot?
I'm just guessing you're saying Wachowski brothers a lot just because that's how...
Oh yeah, that's because, I'm aware that they're no longer the Wachowski brothers.
Yes. Seeing them credited as that in this film.
Yeah.
Have they changed that on updated releases?
I think they now just credit themselves as the Wachowskis.
Oh, okay.
They've become that fundamental.
Yeah.
They are pretty fundamental.
Yeah,
I love them. But...
They're now their own, they're like a brand. Who would like to take a stab at recounting the plot of the movie we just saw?
Sure. Okay, so... Wait, how does it start? All I know is it kind of starts with one of those times when you see what's happening at the end, at the beginning. So you see just a lady tied up. And then lesbian moves in to empty apartment to do maintenance.
Mm-hmm.
Looks gay as hell.
Super gay.
Couldn't look gayer. Next door, there is a very feminine woman with a male companion, and she hits on her hardcore.
Super. On a scale of on a scale of 1 to the fist of an angry god, how hard does Violet hit on Corky? I just want to gauge the feeling in the room.
2 fingers.
Oh shit! Well done.
So like I said, the first.
I think we lost
Okay.
Shay.
The first 20 minutes are basically a porn. So she, feminine woman Violet, invites Corky over to fix. She drops an earring down a pipe.
Fix her pipes.
Yes.
Yeah.
So in the actual plot of a porn, they play this out, and then they end up making out and all this bullshit. Her husband or companion,
her mob guy,
works for the mob, and Corky
business.
is recently out of prison for being really good at stealing, except for getting fucked over and getting caught. So they hatch a plan to steal $2 million from the mob and pin it on
Caesar.
Caesar, and it all goes horribly wrong.
What a shocker.
Yeah, but man, there's so many twists. I don't even want to explain what's going on.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like we should try and be as. I mean, then again, this movie is like over 20 years old now.
Oh God.
Yeah, just chew on that in your mind, bubblegum
Ew.
face, for a while.
They're still using landline
You should
phones.
still watch it though.
Yes.
You should still. Yeah.
It's one of those things. I am often wary of using phrases like the term classic, but the sheer well-constructed beats of intrigue that this film hits are really just like timeless. That's always going to be a super intense, gripping experience because you're just like, oh fuck, where is this going? You know,
Yeah.
especially for a first-time viewing.
Well, and that's rare in gangster. Like, it kind of reminded me like a little bit of True Romance, except it was, I think, better than True Romance in how it ended, because you just don't know what the fuck is gonna happen. Anyone could die at any time,
Anyone.
and most of them do.
Yes. Shay, any thoughts?
I really love how queerness is involved in this film. It's kind of partly a story of like one woman like breaking out of the mob, or like breaking out of being like straight and like actually getting to be who she really is. And then the other part is like, so there's that porn scene where she comes and like fixes the pipes and they're making out a bit, and then the husband walks in, but he thinks that someone's sleeping with his wife, and then as soon as he sees it's a woman, he's like, oh no, it can't be that, and because of that, he's like completely fooled that it's not an option in his mind that two like women could screw him over because they're in a relationship.
Both literally and figuratively. Oh.
Yeah.
Thank you for that epic sandbagging, guys. Love it. Yep.
I'll
get under this bus.
Yeah, I love when queer films use like the queerness to con straight people like this and I Love You, Philip Morris. Both, I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it.
Shay was definitely the biggest evangelist, I think, for this movie going in. Because Sean, was this your first time seeing it?
Yeah, first time seeing it. It's not really knowing much about the plot either.
Me neither. So... I knew nothing. My mind, whenever I heard the phrase "bound," for some reason went to the Kanye West video when he's on a motorbike.
Oh God.
Thing. Like I for some reason I knew it was impossible that it would have something to do with that.
Which is a better love story.
With this, clearly.
Yeah.
But like when it starts up and the first shot is of Corky tied up in the closet, and I was like, oh, bound! Like tied up. Right. I thought bound as in like, I don't know, like to leap. Or to like,
Oh God.
I was thinking it might be like a sci-fi because I knew that this was the precursor in some respects to The Matrix. So this subverted all of my expectations. I was not expecting gritty mob drama.
All I knew was lesbians. That was how it was gifted to me on my birthday. And
That's how I gift everything to you.
that's so true. Yeah. Always appreciated. That's all I knew. I didn't know like it was like a gangster mob film with a lot of action and great stuff in it. So that was dope.
Damn right.
Yeah.
I would say one of the things that you can really tell from this film is that you can see elements of the Wachowskis' visual style, like in the way that it's shot. There's some really hecka nice transitions and like really good examples of like cutting from one scene to the other and like creative use of panning and stuff like that, which you see doubled down on super hard in like the first Matrix film. Like there was the sequence when he like closed the cupboard door and then the camera panned out of the barrel of a gun.
That was sweet.
It was super nice. I'm like, oh, this is so reminiscent of like the shots in the Matrix where they go into the phone and down the wires into the real world and all that kind of thing.
They did that. They went down wires in this shot.
Yeah,
too.
they followed the wires through the wall.
There were like a lot of really, really cool shots that they were clearly just like, hey, wouldn't this look cool? And they kind of just go for it. And like 90% of them work, and the 10% that don't, you're just kind of sitting there like, yeah, at least you went for it though. Like you don't even give a shit that it doesn't work.
Yeah,
Or
it's
it's
clearly
awkward.
something like, oh, this is our debut film. We have to make a good impression with this film. And it's like, we're going to make every shot stand out, and we're going to really cut together really well because it has to wow people because this is it. This is our chance.
as loath as I am to reference How I Met Your Mother, it's like a good mixtape is All Rise, and this movie doesn't really.
Does that.
Yeah, this movie does it once after the initial 20 minutes of the like, oh hey, sexy lesbians.
The ground floor is a porn. And
Yeah.
like it rises from there to just insanity.
Yeah, it just starts going and then it doesn't really stop until like the last 2 minutes of the film.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Elaborate heist, gripping action. The guy playing Caesar, he was having a whale of a time in this movie.
Oh,
Yeah.
he's the guy who eats steak in The Matrix.
He's the Merovingian? Like the vampire guy from the second one. Oh no, he's...
I don't know.
He's the one guy.
Wait,
who wants
he's
to go back
Cypher?
to- Yeah, he wants to go
That
back
was
to the Matrix.
Cypher?
Yeah.
What?
Okay, I feel like I should disclose that I have not seen The Matrix since I was 13.
That's fair. Cypher was like the douchebag guy who like turned on them and sold them all out.
I don't remember
The
anything
bald
of the plot.
guy.
I don't know any of the plot.
Okay.
I think a guy goes into a computer.
That's correct. Well,
Okay.
that's actually the opposite of
Actually,
what
yeah,
happens.
he comes
Yeah.
out
The
of
guy
the
comes
computer.
out of the computer.
But then he goes back in the computer a lot. He goes back in,
Oh.
comes back out, goes back in.
Wait, which one is the Matrix? Life or the computer?
The computer is the
Yeah.
Matrix.
Okay.
He is. And real life, this isn't real life, is what they're saying. Like this. Is
We
computer
live in a
simulation.
computer,
We live in a
okay.
computer.
Should we watch The Matrix or no?
Yeah, we should watch the.
I mean, sure. I mean, it's like, you know, if we're going to start reviewing good films now, I mean, between this and
Well-
potentially Baby Driver next week.
I mean, hopefully.
Yeah. People, I hear good ground. So, Sean, sorry. Thoughts? We've been hogging the mic.
Yeah, so one of the things I really liked about this, it had that sort of play element, that because where it is really sort of set within the two locations, and that it
yeah.
does have that thing of like you could very easily stick the story in like a theatre, and that
Oh,
would still
yeah.
work very well, you know, because it's still that sort of rising tension, and you sort of, I guess in like a play sort of format, you know, you would have both apartments and that, so you would sort of see everything that's going on in like Violet's apartment, and then like, you know, Corky's reaction in her apartment, you know. But it was just, I think it was just that nice idea of that rise in tension that you never really knew where it was going to go, because it's that you think it's going to go one way and then it just goes a massive swerve, you know, and then you think that can't go any different, it goes back in a different direction, and that, so it's an ever sort of evolving sort of story in that, and it's, you know, it does keep you on the edge of your seat because you really want to know how this is going to finish.
What I think is also quite well
Wait.
done is...
Are you suggesting we buy the rights to Bound and write a musical?
Yes.
Yeah. Great.
Ooh. Oh, yeah.
Let's do it.
Done.
All right.
You heard it here first.
When we make all the money from this podcast, that's what we're doing.
Yes,
We're
okay, we will
investing in
fund our
Bound
Bound musical. Oh, God. One of the things I will say, without getting into spoilers, I think that the reason that the tension works so well here is so much of the plot is predicated on the characters predicting what other characters will do, and then you have those characters subverting their expectations, and then the expectations of those characters then being subverted by other people as well. It's not just that, you know, there are twists that nobody could have seen coming. It's all about trying to predict each other's reactions, and then they are like, oh no! Like, there's an awful lot of people being like, oh God, I don't know what I'm doing.
Yeah, it's not a film that is like, ooh, we've got a twist ending, all these twists, and we're smarter than you, audience. We're smarter than you, and we've put in little clues for you, but we're actually smarter than you. The film's not patronising you.
No.
It's just good at that tension about having those characters in confined space and that guy full on Jack Nicholsoning
Oh yeah.
all
Yeah.
over the place.
Caesar was just, he sweated a lot.
Yeah, he was very down.
Good perspiration.
Yeah.
Good, like, just top
Strong
notch.
perspiration. Yeah.
Okay, I think as this is an
Strong
impromptu
perspiration
one.
game for Rao. In the sex scene, there was some strong perspiration.
Oh boy, was
Oh,
there!
yeah.
Just, any-
I know we were
I-
saying, but that might have been the heat.
I su-
I'm not gonna tell.
I suppose we have to confront the big sexy lesbian elephant in the room. Any thoughts on the porn parts at the beginning? Was it too much?
It was too much. I mean, some of the lines were like. The writing after that was great, but the writing during that was very, very cliche in like a porn.
I believe you guys can attest to. I actually said out loud, I'm literally predicting this dialogue in my mind.
I was like, I've read this before as fan fiction, like many, many times, which is not great, but It was fine. Like, I don't know. After the 20 minutes, you're kind of just like, yeah, I'm all in.
Amazing that they got away with this at the time that this was made.
Yeah, it was really graphic.
Yeah.
For being 1990s, for being today even.
But I think if it wasn't so graphic, you wouldn't believe in the kind of love story that follows, because they have to set up that these two love each other and they're gonna stay with each other throughout this film.
Yeah.
Within like they've known each other for a week.
Even though there's multiple moments where they both go, "Oh God!"
Yeah, they have.
Yeah.
You have to like. They have to. So that's why that scene's so graphic and lasts so long in that one shot to be like, these two are together, harmonious there in it.
I didn't think that shot was at all exploiting the usual gaze that even Handmaiden couldn't do. Like, I thought this was shot much better than that, and it was just as graphic. So it was interesting to compare. Like, today they could show more, but it's just they did it more respectfully then, I guess.
Yeah.
Or
It was
the
done in a much
Wachowskis were
more
able
sort
to
of
do.
tasteful kind of fashion.
Yeah, it was
that
more
thing of-
stylistic
yeah,
too.
it's graphic but yet tasteful, so
Yeah.
it was a nice sort of balance.
I think, like, the moment when I was just like, "Oh wow," we're like not pulling any punches whatsoever, was the bit when near the start. So again, not really spoiler. Corky and Violet are having some sexy dialogue, and Corky says, "How serious about this are you?" Violet fucking licks her finger, and I was like, "Oh wow!" And then that starts happening.
It's off to the races.
It
after
is
that.
way off to the races. Good lord. Okay, so
So off to the races.
off to the races. I'm gonna now push you guys for your final thoughts. I'm gonna start with Sean.
This is becoming a trend now. You
It
always
is.
start with me.
You've been on every episode so far.
I know.
Yeah,
Yes. I think it's something, if you can get past the first 20 minutes of essentially porn.
Which is a hard
Which
watch,
isn't
right?
really.
It's very
yeah,
difficult.
It was
Like-
fine.
Sorry, Sean. We completely cannonaded
yeah.
across you there.
But it's the thing, for like a film I hadn't seen before, a film I didn't really know about, like all I really knew about Bound was that it was made by the Wachowskis and that there were graphic, like, gay sex scenes in it, you know, and that was all I really sort of knew. And, you know, I came away with something unexpected, you know, and it was a fantastic film that just, it does continue to rise throughout the film. It has this great level of tension, and you really don't know what you'd expect. You know, so very, very surprised by it.
Nice. Shay.
I think I was the only person who watched this film before.
Yeah.
So on a second watch, I obviously know like the ending, but it's still there's still twists and moments where I completely forget what's about to happen and how it's gonna move again. And not many films can do that twice, like linear plotted films that can like fool you twice.
Yeah.
Um,
Shame on you.
yeah. No,
They
not
fooled
shame
you. Fool me once. Shame on you.
But they didn't
Fool me
fool me.
twice,
They
shame
just
on
let
me.
me. They carried me through like the momentum. They didn't fool me. That's the point. They're not tricking you. They just bring you along for like a roller coaster of a ride. And yeah, I'm really glad you all liked it because I was like, I hope everyone likes it.
EJ?
Yeah, it was not what I expected at all from not knowing anything about it. It was just, I don't know. It's been a long time since I've seen a film that's just taken completely different directions than what you expect. Especially from the beginning, you kind of set expectations and then it just kind of goes completely out the window as soon as the gangster stuff starts up. And like, man, it was great.
Nice.
Yeah, very 90s in
Oh,
the way
yeah.
it's
Oh.
shot. But other than that,
Oh, yeah, the opening title.
Oh my god, yeah.
From what,
It's worth it
PowerPoint
just for that.
97, I think?
yeah.
Bounds! And you're like, oh, okay.
Yeah, but like Sean was saying, like, it could hold up as a play.
Yeah.
And it's really strong story-wise, but also stylistically really interesting. Dope.
Nice. I would say that I think it's, I can already hear Andrew Clark going, I have what can be described as a...
Andrew Clark from the Lost Cat.
Yes, Andrew Clark from the Lost Cat podcast. Do listen to him. He's very good and has a lovely, relaxing voice, even though he's wrong about a lot of things. Shit talking you on my podcast. Fight me.
Hang on, hang on, are we now starting a beef with the Lost Cat podcast now?
Let's start a beef with a much bigger, more successful, better made podcast. Let's go down this rabbit hole.
Wigging out?
Oh! Anyway, even though I can hear Andrew groaning, I have what could be described as a complicated relationship with the Wachowskis. One thing I have always said of them is that while I do not think they are always successful, they are always interesting. They're never boring. This was definitely not boring at all. It's definitely up there with one of my favorite Wachowski films. Did I enjoy this more than The Matrix? I think so, because The Matrix has more things that just leave me going, ugh. Whereas this was just simple, effective, really good mechanical storytelling. Very, very good stuff. Don't know if it's better than Jupiter Ascending, though. I mean, let's be real. That is truly... that is truly their magnum opus. Does anyone have a final thought that we can finish on?
Jupiter Ascending's beautiful in a very different way.
It is. It's magnificent in how utterly ridiculous that film is. And you have a direct man acting very well.
I create life and destroy it.
I have not seen this.
Oh.
I feel like we should watch it.
Oh, at some point we're going to watch Jupiter Ascending.
It's not as tight and visually and as competent storytelling as this film.
Really?
But
Would not have guessed.
Yeah, but it's as much more and wonderfully queer.
It is fucking bananas.
Yeah, I've heard multiple people have tried to explain that film to me.
The bees recognize their queen. It's what? Okay, before we get into a tangent about the Wachowskis, I think that's all good.
Hashtag Renew Sensei.
Okay.
That's my sorry.
Hashtag
Renew Sense 8.
Renew. Is it not already? Didn't they
It
just
got
have
cancelled.
second seat? What? Oh.
It's
Sorry.
so sad.
Oh, tragic ending. Yeah, hashtag Renew Sense 8. That'll go in the tags for this podcast, I guess.
Yeah.
All right, excellent. Next time, Baby Driver, maybe,
Yeah.
apparently, and then possibly at some point Transformers.
Oh God! All right. If
But
we
we
hate
know
ourselves enough,
good films now.
Back to the trash.